What is up, everybody? Today on the Reflog Show, we're going to kick it off with a featured interview. Fox 8's very own Alexis Walters joining us in studio at Burke. After that, we'll look at this week's games and bets, where we break down all the Cleveland sports headlines and odds. As always, it's presented by Tipico Sportsbook. And then we'll finish up with a round of fill in the blank. Boom, let's get it going.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show!
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it.
It's time! The Big Play Reflog Show!
Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. That was a solid hard cutoff. I liked it. I am your host, Big Play Dave, alongside Nick Padone, Boom the producer, and Mr. Chris McNeil. Chris, what is going on, my friend?
Dave, welcome back.
I feel like my suspension for getting Bernie fired has finally ended. I am back on the show. Thank you very much.
It hasn't been that long.
Now, Dave, in between, we obviously had the Kentucky Derby. You had your big Derby party. How was the Derby party?
I am taking a break from bourbon for at least a few weeks.
How about Mage, though? 16 to 1, 17 to 1?
17 to 1.
Pretty good.
We do a random horse drawing at the party, and I was the second to last one, pulled out a 30 to 1. Last one was 17 to 1. Almost had it.
Well, I was getting my TV mounted, Dave, so I missed the Kentucky Derby. I missed your party because we were doing some renovations in the Padone living room.
I was going to ask, so I haven't been here for a while, so you are all moved in.
Kind of.
You... Yeah, just wait. I've been in a house for like a decade. You'll never be fully moved in.
Yeah.
Are you hang your own TV, or you had someone do it?
Oh, we had it was a group effort. I'm still not 100% sure that it's all the way hung up.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
see.
You used anchors, right? You used anchors.
Yeah,
and
of
bars.
course. Oh, yeah, we put a mantle. The mantle went up first. So getting the mantle anchored was a good precursor for getting the TV anchored.
judging from your abilities around Lakefront Airport, Burke Airport.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, I'd say hire someone.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it off. Chris, we have a very special interview in studio presented by Labatt. Let's get it going with our featured interview of the week. All right, featured interview brought to you by Labatt. Today, we are joined by Fox 8's very own meteorologist, Alexis Walters. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me. I wish I had a cold can of Labatt's to crack after
You know
that.
what? We have them in the fridge in the office, so
Yeah.
that's our bad.
That's all right. I'll forgive you. For next time.
That's right. So, welcome to the studio.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about your journey back to Cleveland,
Back to
Ohio.
Cleveland. So I was telling you guys earlier, I used to live here before I'm the meteorologist at Fox 8 here just across the street, so we're work neighbors. But I've been there about a year now. Before that, I was in Youngstown, and before that, I was in Cleveland as well, bartending, going to school. And so when I came back, my friends actually put my face over LeBron's "I'm Coming Home" magazine cover, and that was my post to let everyone know I was coming back to Cleveland. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
That's fantastic.
All right, I think everybody wants to know. We kind of teased that you were coming on, and I think the one question that we got the most, are we finally done with the cold weather here, Alexis?
We live in Ohio. We're not done with it, but I will tell you this. I retired my snow graphics for the season.
Oh.
You're welcome. I accept gifts for that one.
Yes.
But yeah, so it is looking better. It's looking a lot better. You know, it's a beautiful day outside today. I'm going to the Guardians game. Great day for baseball. So we're getting there, folks. I know we just got out on the water, too. We were out on the river Saturday, Sunday. And it was gorgeous. So
Yeah, I mean, look at that view. Sunshine and private jets.
if they're flying, the weather's got to be okay.
How hard is it to predict the weather up there in Northeast Ohio? I mean, you got lake effect, you've got a lot of different factors. How difficult is your job?
So today, it was one of those days where I had papers and I wanted to just throw them and walk away and be like, take your best guess, look out the window. You let me know, because it can be difficult. That's for sure. Like you said, you've got lake effect snow, you've got, a lot of different factors. And two, the forecast for you guys here, like coming to work at, the airport, is completely different than someone going to work in Mansfield or even Parma sometimes, or even sometimes Lakewood. So it just really just depends. I'm usually given about 4 different forecasts, and people have a hard time sometimes realizing which one is for them.
What's the wildest weather event you've ever been physically in that you have seen? I've heard of lightning snow or thunder snow and
yeah.
things like that. Have you been in something that was just wow?
So not really personally. I know that sounds really lame, but usually if I'm working and it's bad weather, I'm in a studio.
Right.
But when I worked in Youngstown, one of the coolest things I got to see was one, which this is bad, but for me it's cool. There was a huge flash flood and cars were floating down the street, which is just not something you typically, that's not something you see every day. But and then another time I was outside doing live reporting on the weather, and I literally got to see it go from summer-like conditions to an ice storm and snow all within the course of one of my shifts. So that was for me it was fun. For everybody else, it wouldn't have to be in that. Most people would call that miserable, but you think weird things are fun when you work in the news business.
So is there anything in particular that brought you to being in weather, doing this, being a meteorologist? Was there something did you see meteorology as a kid and say,
No.
boy, this is what I
I
want to do?
didn't. I thought I was going to be a nurse. But I hate blood and I hate needles, so it was not a good idea for me. But so I was just telling them I went to Kent State, was originally going for nursing, switched to communications. They have a great TV program there, and they kept making me do the weather on their live television station. And I was like, I hate this. I don't know what I'm talking about. And if you look on YouTube, you can find some we'll just call them embarrassing videos of me doing the weather, and I'm just like, it's 65 and sunny out. I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about. So eventually down the road, I ended up really enjoying the communication of weather. So I know a lot of people get into meteorology and they're like, I came out of the womb looking at the clouds and wondering what the weather was going to be. And I'm totally opposite of that. I had no interest in doing it. And I kind of found my way to loving weather. And you can hate the news all you want, but you kind of have to care about the weather. You know what I mean? It's going to impact every single person at some point.
A couple of years ago, the Browns were playing, I think it was the Raiders, and it was grapple was the new word that the internet kind of learned. What exactly is that, and is it probably that hard to play football in grapple? Because if you remember that game, it was really ugly. Baker was miserable, and
I do remember that word. Yeah,
completely in here just complaining up a storm that following.
And everyone's just yelling grapple.
Yeah.
So basically, the different types of precipitation, if you look at it like a triangle, so when it's warm, top to bottom in the atmosphere, it's going to be rain. And if it's really, really cold all the way up and down, it's going to be snow. So everything in between there is what's going to be your sleet, your ice, your grapple. So it just depends on how much of that atmosphere is super cold versus, that little from here, say 5 kilometers up, of decently warm air. So it just matters how much cold air there is in the atmosphere, and then once it reaches the ground, it's smacking you in the faces. Grapple.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like weather people, meteorologists, kind of get a tough rap. It's definitely a tough job. You know, like one misreport or one, just Cleveland weather kind of switches up on you.
And they forget about days like this.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever had like weird encounters with that with people on like the internet or just like kind of in general?
I mean, everybody's got opinions on the internet, you know, but it's okay. I mean, when it comes down to it, we are humans. We're not perfect. And there are a lot of changing conditions, and people forget that meteorology is a very new science. It's not, like other sciences particularly. And there's new data coming out every day, and the smallest thing can change it. So, when we say just, keep an eye out and stay tuned with us, like things are going to be changing, we mean it.
So have you ever thought about carrying a bow and arrow like Nicolas Cage in that one weather movie? Did you ever see that?
Yes, yeah. Just start
highly
shooting
recommend,
it.
yeah.
So we've had this debate on the show a lot. It's kind of an ongoing internet Browns debate, is whether or not they should build a dome. As somebody that's very familiar with Cleveland weather, with the lakefront conditions, especially fall into the winter, are you pro-dome? Are you anti-dome? What's your kind of take on, even just from your fan perspective of being a Cleveland sports fan, your viewing perspective of, you like it?
So I used to joke when I lived in Cleveland the first time, 6 years ago? I mean, I was going to the games when the taxes costed more than the tickets because, one, they were terrible, and two, like, it was so cold. We would go in blizzards for whatever reason down to the Muni lot. And the only reason I say no is because how many months out of the year do we really use it? And majority of the football season is decent weather. You'll get those nice days in October and November, so that's no. I mean, and if we're helping pay for it with taxes, then I don't think we need it.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, I think that's the answer that they're rolling with.
Who's paying for it? Yeah.
I think that's what they're rolling with. So we also learned that you want to make your first sports bet, and we were talking a little bit about it before the show, that you were kind of doing some Google work on how to sports bet, like literally right before you were about to go on air.
Sports betting for dummies. Yeah, I was. I honestly, I still don't know anything.
So what questions do you have for us before we get you into your first bet?
You sound like a car dealer right now. What will it take for us to get you into this bet today?
As if you guys don't have a contract with Tipico. I mean, genuinely, we need square one.
Square one.
Square
101.
one. Yeah, so I think that the new slogan for them is anybody can do it. If she can do it, anybody can.
There we go. Chris, I would say that you're an intermediate to novice bettor. What recommendations would you? You're welcome.
You've seen my bets.
I like to really
lately.
lift you up.
I've been slinging around 20s and watching them burn.
I know.
I'm doing that in all these games.
What recommendations would you have?
Well, I think what we're going to have to start her in here, Dave, is probably a parlay. A parlay is one of the things that has now come online with Tipico, and you could do it for baseball, where you bet the outcomes for different players. And you could do different players, you could do innings and doing the Guardians to win. And I think, Nick, if you've got in front of you, we've got one kind of preset for Alexis here where we can bet, I think, 3 legs of a parlay. Is that right?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to stack up a same game parlay with Tipico. So I guess square one would be download the app. When you download it, if you use code BIGPLAY, when you deposit $50,
Reflog. This is my
Reflog,
show.
whichever. There's a million promo codes that we have.
There's not a million. There's one she should be using. Come on.
All right, promo code REFLOG. And then when you deposit $50, you'll get $200 like bets on us.
Oh.
So there's like $200.
So can I use them both and get $400? Or is
No.
it one?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
it's
just
one or
gotta
the
pick
other.
one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we also have,
Good to
we
know.
have Booby, we have Bernie, we have Top Dog. Yeah, there's
Okay.
more. So, but yeah, just like pick one, then you get the free bet credits. And then it's time to put together that parlay. So yours, when it goes active tonight on Tipico, it'll be a boost. So it'll already be pre-built. We have it in the
I love
Tipico
this.
app. Yeah, this is like just for you. We don't do this for every, like, I think this is the first
is the
time
first
we've had
time.
a guest have
This is
their
We
own
didn't. I don't
boost,
even
yeah.
think we did it for Bernie.
No, we didn't.
He doesn't need it.
So here's what yours is going to be. It'll be for Guardians versus Tigers tomorrow. Guardians got to beat the
Obviously-
Tigers.
Obviously taking the win for the Guardians.
Yeah, taking the win. And then Jose Ramirez needs to get at least one hit. Steven Kwan needs to get at least one hit. That's your parlay.
And I have faith in both of those. So
So that sounds
we're
pretty
good.
easy, right?
So wait, can I just details? So parlay basically means the details of the game.
So the
Is it?
it's the bet.
It's like different components of the game. So
Yeah.
you could stack whatever. Like if you really wanted to get crazy, you could go Guardians to win and Kwan and Jose to both hit a home run. And obviously those are less likely to happen. Like we were talking about earlier with the percentages.
Yeah.
So your payout will be much more. So say you put $20 on yours, as is tomorrow, Guardians to win, plus both of those guys to get a hit. Your $20 will probably net you 70, 80 around there. But if you were to tweak it and go crazier or even add more players, then your payout's going to be a lot higher. Your 20 would then maybe get you 150, 100,
Okay.
200. We've stacked them, 16 things all need to happen to $10 win 2,000 we've tried before.
Now,
and
Alexis,
all that
we were
kind of stuff.
talking before the show started about it's confusing, like, oh, it's plus 2,500 or plus 2,000. You said, why not just do percentages?
Yeah.
I think
Like,
you
I
could, you
can
could be
understand.
changing the gambling industry completely.
I think there's a lot more similarities between weather and sports betting than
There
you would
is.
think. Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at 3-to-1 odds or 1-to-3 odds, that kind of thing, and I was just transferring it to percentages of rain.
This bet has a
she might be good.
30% probability.
Should
of
I create
hitting.
my own app? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like you might be one of our new insiders because the three of us are sure as hell aren't winning very much. So yeah, we might need those percentages explained a little bit better.
Well, so one of the things that I think is super cool is if I was listening to a weather podcast actually, and there's so much of the weather that goes into the outcome of a game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was someone who, which I thought this would be sick to do, but I can't work an Excel document. This person looked at all the stats of certain quarterbacks and how they play in certain types of weather, like all throughout the country. So all sorts of, NFL teams. And it was like pretty shocking to see which ones performed better in a dome and controlled air environment versus some, which I think it might have been Tom Brady. He performed better in poor weather, in windy, rainy conditions. It might not have been him. And then she looked at like Patrick Mahomes and stuff too. So it was super cool to kind of see those stats. So I could see that becoming a factor in sports betting down the road.
Definitely. And then too, like, when just like Brown season, we were talking about dome versus no dome.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably not going to build it. Those late December games when the weather's awful, just bet the under on everybody because it's there's probably not going to be many points. Like it's going to be miserable weather. Everybody's going to be having a hard time. So
I know. It'd be cool to look back and see we've had how many quarterbacks, but it'd be interesting to see how our team has performed in those types of environments.
yeah, definitely.
We've had 100
We've had a
quarterbacks
lot.
in the
Yeah.
last 10 years.
We might not be the best
About
standard.
we cannot do yet in Ohio is bet the weather, and that upsets me. We need to bring that to Ohio. You said, Nick, they can do that in Michigan. They can bet the weather.
Yeah, so like in Michigan, I think there's a couple other states too, but I think Michigan is really the big I think New York maybe, and then obviously it's big offshore. But you could bet like, will it rain today? Yes or no. Obviously the odds will change based on what the forecast says. So if like your weather app says that there's a 90% chance of rain, then yes is going to be heavily favored, but how many times is it said on your phone that it's going to rain and it doesn't rain, or vice versa, that it's not going to rain and it starts to rain? So, Chris,
How
you
does
work
that,
on
how does that work though?
I
Like-
know. I wonder who they
like-
take because if you're taking the information from like your weather app, I mean, I would take the opposite of what it says more times than not, probably.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, we'll push for that for a
Here's
while.
a true to life
Yeah,
meteorologist.
I would
who
not
speaks
hold your
technology
breath
right there.
on
Say,
that
no,
ever.
don't go to the apps. Go to me.
go to the
I am
apps.
the meteorologist of record, right?
Am I biased? Maybe, but it's also fact. So yeah, and I was saying the one thing that you can't really control or have any sort of influence on is the one thing that you can't bet on. They got
Right.
to change it.
All right,
I agree.
it's a
And
movement.
here's my other
Weather
case.
betting.
Again, I would not hold your breath.
Start it on Twitter.
If you read a box score, you have the game time temperature in the box score. Everything else in the box score you are able to bet, but you cannot bet the weather. And I think that is just unfair. And I think it does a disservice to the people of Ohio who need to be able to bet the weather.
There's their platform right there.
There we go. We've got it.
We could get a commercial slot for that.
I think we're onto something.
That and I know Chris's high school football lines. Those two things that I don't think we'll ever be seeing in the near future.
I just want to bet on a Gatorade color 1 or 2 times, and that's it. I'm good.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Hey, what's
And
it
that's
like?
another one you can't do in Ohio yet, right?
Really?
See, no
Not
novelty
yet.
stuff.
Ohio's weird.
Oh,
The whole
Yeah, Ohio's strict. Ohio almost didn't even want to let us do like UFC and like combat sports.
I wonder
They're
how
like,
far
we're
out
lucky.
onto the lake you got to go for that to not.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
count
like,
anymore.
what technically counts as Michigan? Like if you were just on the water
Right.
Or Canada.
or Canada, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll work on it.
Loopholes. There's loopholes everywhere.
Alexis, what's it like working with our buddy Ken Carmen?
So okay, I don't see him much.
What's he like behind the
I
scenes?
hear him more than I see him. And I find his shoes laying around the newsroom of the studio. Patty Harkin, who does traffic, is always tweeting at him saying that he's strews his clothes all over the station. But he's a hoot.
He's a funny guy. All right. Anything else betting related that you wanted to cover while you're here?
No, not before I place my first. I mean, is there a minimum, a maximum I got to place on this?
No.
You do literally whatever.
Well, I might as well do the 50 and then, right?
Yeah.
And then get the
Let's go.
get the other 200.
For sure.
Use code REFLOG.
Just call for backwards. That's all you got to do.
Yes.
Which I didn't know that. Somebody had to tell me that today. I was like, I have no idea what it means.
It's just reflog. Yeah.
So,
All right, well,
any hot
go ahead.
sports takes you have for us today?
I don't know. I'm going to the game today, so
Yep.
I'm going to feel more comfortable, about which way I should place my bet for tomorrow's game, probably after I see the outcome of today's. And we'll go from there. But no, not really.
I love it.
Any hope for our Browns this year? What are you thinking for the Browns who've just gone through the draft? The off season's kind of kicking. Come August, they're going to be getting back into camp, and then we'll be rolling from there. We've got the Hall of Fame game up there in Canton. So we're right in the middle of the off season right now. So it's still kind of a ways off. But any thoughts on the Browns coming up?
I've always got hope for them, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I go in with a positive attitude every season, and you know how it goes by the end of it. But I mean, I feel like we've got a solid group of people now. They've played together for some time, with the exception of a couple players, and so we have that base at least, and then being able to add in hopefully some more talent.
Yeah.
Do it this year. Okay, any hot weather takes?
What'll be the weather on opening day for the Browns, and we will hold
6
you
months
to
from
it.
now. Probably hot or snowing. One of the two.
That is correct.
You've got a 50-50 chance on that one, so place your bets now.
It's the next Tipico bet we're going to load in there.
6 months out.
Futures is what we call those. That's another thing that you can bet on, and that's called futures.
You guys should have gotten me like a terminology list.
You know what? We'll work on that. We will get you that next time.
I'll carry it around for me. Be like, what am I betting?
That's right. All right,
Listen,
I think
next
we've got a winner.
neighbors, we'll have you stop in periodically, and we'll go over different parts of the bet, and we'll put together new bets for you.
I like
I
it.
like this idea.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna become rich. I'm either gonna be broke tomorrow. Or I'm gonna be rich.
We'll go up or down with you.
The $50 breaks me.
That's right. All right, Alexis, thanks for stopping into the studio. It was awesome having you, and we would love to have you back on sometime.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
For sure.
All right.
Talking weather. I love it.
Fantastic.
Great job, Alexis.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right, Alexis Walters. That was fun.
A lot of fun. Always good weather talk. Hopefully the snow is done. I like hearing that she retired the graphics for the snow. So yeah, hopefully that's all behind us. Grapple.
Grapple, what a throwback.
Hopefully we don't get any of that for the Browns this year. I feel like that cost us a couple games.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Behind the scenes, I didn't know how to pronounce it. I couldn't remember how it was pronounced, so I asked Nick to ask that question.
I know.
Grapple? I can't remember what that
I
was.
saw you in the notes, and I was like, Should I call him out? Nah, I'll let him call himself out.
How do you pronounce it? Grapple? I didn't want to look like an idiot in front of the weather expert.
I'm
know?
glad you
That's
fessed up
right.
to that, Chris. But yeah, grapple. I don't know why you remember that game so vividly. I think it was just that maddening that it was just coming down absolutely sideways.
Yeah, that's right. All right, our guest Alexis getting a selfie in there as she heads out.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let's, Boom, what do you say? Shall we move on to fill in the blank? Let's do it. All right, so I haven't been here in a while, so fill in the blank. Who takes lead? Is that me?
You.
Boom,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
you've been doing it? Okay, I'm doing it. All right. Let's kick it off, Chris. We're going to start with you because we don't get to do this very often. Columbus Blue Jackets talk.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am excited. That's why I'm wearing my Blue Jackets. If you notice, I'm wearing my
Look
Blue
at that.
Jackets
Yeah.
jersey.
Look at you.
I'm all ready. We're entering the Connor Bedard sweepstakes tonight. Get that #1 pick for the CBJ. Let's go. That's
I had no
a
idea.
franchise changer. That's a franchise changer
No
from what
kidding.
everybody says. I am in no way an expert, as you guys know, on hockey. I just have to go off of what everybody says, and it's Connor Bedard and then everybody else in this particular draft. And he is a LeBron James type. You know, what we had for the Cavs, that's what he would be for the Blue Jackets. That's what everybody says. So
Wow.
I am all hyped for that, guys.
All
Well,
right.
I thought they got the Donovan Mitchell of the offseason, though, with that Johnny Hockey character.
Johnny
and then
Hockey.
here they are at the very top of the lottery. What the hell happened with that guy?
I know. I don't understand enough about hockey. Between him and Line everything was supposed to kind of come together for
Yeah,
the Blue
yeah,
Jackets.
right.
We ended up
People
being
were-
the worst team in hockey. So I don't know how that happens, really. Maybe, and as a Cleveland fan, I should be kind of used to that kind of thing. But I was really psyched for this season from what everybody was telling me.
I
And
know.
Here we are.
And
Yeah.
here we are. All right, let's fill in the blank. Chris, the Columbus Blue Jackets will get the blank pick in the
The
NHL.
#1 pick, Dave. #1 pick, Connor Bedard. Let's go.
CBJ.
There we go.
Pull up that Grossy tweet.
Yes, exactly. Around my house, BJs are Blue Jackets.
Oh, brother. All right, let's go to the next one. Fill in the blank, Nick.
Hey, what are our odds? Since this is a
For-
gambling
for
show,
what?
what are our odds for the #1 pick tonight? Because it is a lottery.
13.5.
I like those odds. We have the
That's not
second best
horrible.
odds behind
The
who we got?
Anaheim Ducks.
The Ducks at 25.5 and just ahead of the Blackhawks. I hope the Blackhawks do not jump us. I hate the Blackhawks.
That's fair. I got stuck in a couple Blackhawk parades back in the day in
Oh,
Chicago,
wow.
Chris. So I fully concur with you.
Yep.
All right, enough hockey talk. I think the combined knowledge of the three of us is limited. So
we've
move
exceeded
on.
our quota.
We've talked weather and hockey now, two things we know very little about
That's
other than
right.
experiencing them in person every once in a while.
We're
That's
just
right.
avoiding the Browns logo discourse.
Oh my God! All right, fill in the blank, Nick. Donovan Mitchell will be named to the blank team All NBA.
Should be first team.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell should be first team All NBA. Drop what happened in the postseason. I get that for the Cavs as a collective, it wasn't their best showing. For Donovan Mitchell as an individual, he will be the first to admit that it was not his best showing. Yet still, this season for Donovan Mitchell, statistically in damn near every single category, he was first team All NBA. He would have my vote for first team All NBA. The 71-point performance, getting the Cavs to be the 4th seed in the East, really fresh out of a rebuild. I think Donovan deserves a ton of credit, and I really think / hope the league will do right by him and give him what he deserves.
Well, I mean, they don't put any bias into the playoffs, right? I don't believe so.
No, but there are a lot of other guards that
Yeah.
nationally have a lot of attention. I mean, obviously Steph, Booker, Devin Booker right now is just dominating
Yeah.
the NBA. Luka, Trae Young, who I don't think, he didn't have that good of a year. But then you got De'Aaron Fox with the Kings. They were kind of the darling of the West, kind of the same as the Cavs were the East. So we'll see. Donovan should be first team, though.
I agree. All right, this is to both of you. Blank versus blank would make the most entertaining NBA Finals matchup. Nick, I'll go to you first.
I'm going to go Boston versus LA. I think having
Yeah.
kind of that old school rivalry resurface for the first time in quite some time would be really cool. Obviously, the LeBron fan in me just wants to see LeBron. obviously first take down these Warriors, but then again on that big stage against the Celtics, who were there last year, so there could be some fatigue. But I saw a fun tweet from Anthony Lima actually earlier today, and that is at some point in the last couple months of this Celtics season, I feel as if Jaylen Brown has really surpassed Jason Tatum for the best player on the Celtics. I think Jaylen Brown is really good, and they've kind of flipped how that dynamic works. I sure as hell don't want to see Philly in there. I don't want to see the Knicks. Miami, I could do without because of Kevin Love. So I'm going to go ahead and say Lakers versus Boston is what I'm really hoping the finals ends up being.
Boy, am I hating the East. I mean, I hate these East Coast teams. You throw in Miami because of where LeBron went back in the day, and I still, I'm bitter there.
There's
and
no good one to pick.
Boston, Philly, the Knicks who beat us in Miami. I mean, that's a rough one there. I think I'm going to go with Nick. I am rooting for LeBron for the first time in a while. And I don't know whether it's just because he's gotten older and now I root for old guys that are around my age. I mean, it's almost like, and I'll do this at the Masters too for the older guys. It's
Come on, Freddie Couples.
Yeah, go Fred Couples, right? Even
Yep.
Phil Mickelson before the whole live thing. Those are the guys who you kind of pull for because they could keep up with the guys at the Masters. Kind of the same thing here. So I'm pulling for LeBron. I would go LA, Boston, but I don't want to say the same thing as Nick. So I'm going to say Philly, and I want to see LA just beat the hell out of Philly because you guys know how I feel about Philly.
I love that. Chris, I'm with you. And it has been more recently where I'm like, all right, I really want to see LeBron win. And I think it's, Chris, I think it's right because I think it's the young kids who are kind of disrespecting him. What was that guy's name who's no longer getting signed on Sacramento?
Oh, Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks.
From Memphis.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm just like, don't mess with this old man.
Don't you guys think? I think with LeBron, we see it at the end of a lot of basketball careers. It was the same like for me with Kobe. Is at the end you just want him to just stack wins, stack titles because it's like an appreciating greatness thing. Like you realize, during their primes, which maybe LeBron is finally exiting his prime a little bit. It's like, yeah, it was fun to hate on him at points in their career. For us, it was fun to love him for a big majority of his career. And now it's just like, man, just win all you can so we could just keep appreciating how good the guy is. I feel like for me, that's at least how I appreciated Kobe kind of at that.
So this would be his second with LA.
This would be his second with the Lakers. Yep.
Rafa was talking about this earlier where he could then come back to Cleveland and be the first player of all time to ever win two with three teams.
Wow, that would be incredible. Well, the first one really doesn't count in LA.
Come on. Yes, it does.
It was COVID. Nobody was paying attention. He was playing in front of a bunch of TV monitors.
Players that played in the bubble, because there are people that have that same belief, Chris, that the bubble championship doesn't count. But the players that played in that bubble say that the bubble championship should really count as two because it was twice as difficult.
All right, let's move on. We're going Guardians. Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
The Guardians rookie I am most excited about is blank. Chris.
I could go with a bunch of these guys. I love the fact that we've got a nice pipeline going here, but it's going to be Logan Allen once again. Starting pitching, the way that he has performed, the promise that I see there. I really like this kid, and he's the guy that I'm most excited about.
I'm gonna go similar to Chris, but different. I'm staying in that pitching factory. I'm going with Tanner Bybee. I think his kind of just overall persona, his poise, it reminds me of the next taking the baton of this Corey Kluber being this stoic kind of level-headed guy. Then Shane, we know he's very stoic, very level-headed. I think the next in line is Tanner Bybee. His mannerisms, just the way that he operates, everything about him when he's on the mound, I'm like, that guy is a Cleveland pitcher. He just encompasses it. So I'm going to go with Tanner Bybee.
I like it. All right, let's move on. I know Nick wants to talk about this one.
God, no.
The Browns dog logos are out there.
Yeah, they are.
They're out there. The fill in the blank. The best Browns dog logo design is
none of them. They are all
I
don't
bad. Even think we need to show them on the screen.
No, they're all really bad. I mean, Listen, there's a lot to have an opinion about this. I think the Browns have enough logos, one. Obviously, you have your helmet as your regular one. Then you could have your alternate. I thought we were all in love with the elf. Wasn't the elf the new thing? They put it on the 50. Stefanski wears it on his hat and on his shirt. And now we're doing a dog, kind of like the shoving of the dog pound down the fans' throats is weird to me because the dog pound used to be, and I know I'm not explaining this to you guys, a fan thing. You know, Hanford created the dog pound, but then it was something that the fans really took off with. And it was the people slugging beers in the Muni lot and getting into fist fights. Like that was the dog pound. Now it's all
corporate-y
puppy logo that... I mean, what are they going to do with this? I don't know. I'm
Chris, where do you fall on this? Because I actually prefer the dog logo over the elf. Not any of these dog logos, but just a dog logo over the elf.
You know, give me basic. I could do just, Cleveland Browns written out or the helmet. I am fine there.
You like the helmet logo?
Yeah, you don't have to add a whole lot. I mean, this is where football grew up. So a basic helmet actually makes sense here. And I think it should. You add Paul Brown. This is where everything grew up. So something as basic as a helmet should be good enough. You know, the Yankees don't have a whole lot of logos, right? You have your classic NY. You've got the pinstripes, and they kind of hang on those. They don't come out with new logos every single year. And I don't think we should be constantly changing our colors or logos or uniforms like the way that we do. But of course, I'm old school, right? And that's just not the way the world works anymore.
But
and I look at these logos, and I've got a hot take here, gentlemen.
Oh boy.
I think the logo, if you're looking at it, if we had it on the screen, is going to be the one that's in the upper left. It's the dog with kind of the stripe over his head, and he's wearing the spiked collar. I think that's the one that the Browns are going to ultimately go with. I just reading the tea leaves here. I think that's going to be the one.
Well, Chris,
we'll see if I'm right or wrong. Tipico needs odds on these.
I feel like we already have one that looks better than that.
The thing is with what Chris just said, the new way of going about this, the new way of sports, I don't think it really is though. Like what NFL team do you know that has more than one logo, let alone we're going to have three now when you factor in the helmet, the elf, and now a dog.
Right.
Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, one of the just beginning of football, Midwest. The Steelers logo year in and year out. They're not rolling out new Steeler logo. It's just left and right. Fans, get your votes in on the new Steeler logo.
Should we just have the main logo, just a collage of the three logos?
Yeah, it should be a helmet with the dog, a helmet with the elf with a flag, and on the flag is one of these dogs.
What if we had the elf ride a dog wearing the orange helmet?
It's the Holy Trinity. That's what it
Yes.
is. The three logos of the Cleveland Browns.
I seriously tried to think today. Like the Dolphins, no. The Bills, no. Jets, maybe.
Commanders.
The Commanders
totally reinvented themselves.
They did, but that's just because they had to. And that was just them throwing everything at the wall and hoping something stuck.
So should we recommend to the Browns after? Is this a vote? Are we doing a vote for
it's a
this?
vote.
Yeah, this
It
is
starts
the
on Wednesday,
first
I
round.
believe.
Yeah, this is the first round. So I think they're going to whittle it down from
after
here.
this, after we pick a dog logo, then can we put the three logos, and we have to pick one: the elf,
Just
the helmet,
one.
or the dog, and
That
then we're
is
down to
cool.
one.
That is cool. That's a good idea.
I think we should do it. JW, I know you watch the show. Let's do it.
All right, but
Unify the logo.
of
Brad.
these dogs,
Unify the logo.
I do have to say, because I've been looking at them all day, the one that Chris said, I think is going to be the one. I agree. The one that the TikTok girl made, that's the CLE on the dog's neck. The neck is too long. The throwback one is just horrible. I hate the droopy cheeks. The one with the brown face I thought that was a fish when I first saw it. I really like the Darth Vader one. The more that I look at it, I get that the guy literally just stole it from Darth Vader, but kind of it's got all the odes. It's got the Ohio in the ear. It's got the guitar pick. The Guardian is the
Gotta have a
face.
guitar pick. Dude, really? Are we going guitar pick again?
I just like it.
We
I think
on this all the time.
I think
They're
that's like
constantly
the
putting guitars in our logos.
Yes.
You gotta
Yeah.
stop doing that.
that's the meanest looking dog though. Like that's to me is the dog pound.
You need a
When I look at-
mean-looking dog.
When I look at the rest of these, I'm just like, eh.
Chris, what about a dog holding a guitar?
But when I look at this one,
Oh man, you're
All right,
right. next to
we're
my
moving
ball.
on. Let's look at some big play bets. Let's keep this thing rolling. Boop-a-doo, boop.
Tipico Sportsbook lets you bet on the biggest sporting events all year round. The NBA and NHL playoffs are here. Guardian season is in full swing, and they have so much more on Tipico. Right now, they have their Swing for the Fences contest, and this is something that the three of us have been trying to get in all weekend. So this is similar to what Tipico did for March Madness, where it's a leaderboard style thing where you wager $20 on any baseball bet of at least minus 200 odds to join. The more you bet, the more you score. You could do straight bets. You could parlay them. The top 100 bettors at the end of the month of May get bets on Tipico for a year, with the grand prize being $5,000 in bet credits. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. This Swing for the Fences is really cool, though. I'm glad they kind of brought this leaderboard thing back, because we had a ton of fun with it in
Is this
March.
like March Madness?
It's
the
exactly
leaderboard?
the
Okay.
same. Yeah, exactly the same. $20 bets on only baseball, Swing for the Fences. So they want us to get in on these juicy parlays. Now Tipico has same game parlays, so you could just stack a bunch of Guardian things together. I think it's all just really good timing to really get people into betting on baseball in the month of May.
All right, so we're going to kick it off with Alexis Walters' bet.
I think we'll do the first one with Alexis. Yeah, on Tuesday, tomorrow, when this comes out. That's a 6 o'clock game on a Tuesday against the Tigers. I think that's a good way to get our excitement into this Swing for the Fences, where we'll have Guards money line with Jose and Quan to each get a hit. Last week we did pretty good though, guys. Chris was 4-0, Gab was 4-0, I was 3-1.
That's by far, and I'm an incomplete. So, I mean, that's a win all around.
Yeah, we got to stay hot, guys.
We're getting better. We're improving every single week.
Oh, boy. You just jinxed it. All right, let's look at some bets this week. So, Guardians, Tigers.
Can we do this for Wednesday, maybe?
Yeah, we could do Wednesday.
Well, are we going to talk? We're going to talk about Alexis's bet, because she's already like chomping at the bit here. She's texting me. So when is that going to go live? When is that going to go live? So
Yeah, so
we
it'll
have
be
any details on Alexis's bet, when that will go live, when people can bet along with Alexis.
It'll be live after tonight's game. So obviously we're live about probably the same time as when the game is ending. So once the Guards game ends tonight, the Alexis bet will be live on the Tipico Sportsbook app in the boost section, the same place where you find the big play boosts that we're always floating out there. Her bet will be under there as soon as Monday's game ends, so you could get your bets in for Tuesday.
Okay, so let's look at, because after we win that one, we're going to be itching for another one.
Yes.
So let's
we're
look
gonna
at
swing for the
Wednesday.
fences even more.
Okay, so let's go same game parlay, Wednesday's game. Nick, what do you like? So we obviously we can do whatever we want. You can do over on runs, pick a player. What are you thinking?
So obviously I'm going to roll with Guardians money line
Yes.
because that's kind of the mainstay. So that'll be one leg of my same game parlay. Wednesday at 1 o'clock, it's Battenfield against Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm gonna go basic, Dave, and I think you'll appreciate this. I'm gonna parlay Guardians money line with the over on the whatever the run total is. I think Battenfield versus Rodriguez could be an opportunity to be a little bit higher scoring. Obviously, the weather, again, as we talked about with Alexis, starting to warm up a little bit, so maybe these bats will finally be awake, and we could catch Tipico snoozing at the wheel a little bit with some lower run totals. Might be a good time of year to start hitting the over on some of these.
Chris, do you feel like it's just about time to start hitting some home run bets?
Please.
because we
please,
don't have
please.
many home runs this year.
You know, I was feeling pretty good because I've been doing these parlays here for the last week ever since we've announced it. And, going the Guardians to win and then like a Jose Ramirez home run. It's
It's
like,
been killing it.
that makes a lot of sense, right? No, can't get that last leg.
He's so
We're
due.
so due.
He is. I mean, Jose in particular is due. I think I've done it the last 3 nights though, so I'm taking a little break of the Jose home run because it's.
So you're
perfect.
not going Jose? All
Not
right,
for Wednesday.
I will go Jose.
All right.
Jose for Wednesday.
Hashtag fade Padone.
So is that our 3?
I like that. Guardians money line over and Jose to get a home run.
See, for next week, I'd like to get into some pitching, maybe the back end of our bullpen, and talk about some saves and things like that. I'm sure that would up those odds quite a bit and make that payoff so much sweeter. But I tell you what, these parlays is pretty cool. You know, for $20, you'll get like a $200 payout.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, for what you think should happen. Now, I haven't hit one yet. Hopefully, it's going to be new news next week. But it is pretty cool to be able to do that. It adds another layer of intrigue to all these games.
Yes,
Yeah, and then we've got
especially when you
Guardians-
pack them all into one game, too.
Right?
Like
Yeah,
that's
that's fun.
what makes it really fun. You don't have to.
That's what
kinda
makes baseball
channel
fun to
flip.
watch.
Yeah.
Like regular season is grueling. But if
Yeah.
you have like 9 bets on that game, you're going to watch it.
Yep.
All right, let's look at Guardians Angels.
I can't wait for this.
Chris, Ohtani and Trout, will they homer in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think so.
Both of
I
them.
think so. I'd go both. Yeah,
Wow.
So I feel like that would be a good bet.
I think so.
Emotional hedge bet against
I
our
hate doing
Guardians.
that. I hate going against our team, but
I do like that.
But you know what
I
though,
do like
Chris?
both.
If they do it and then you win money, and then if they don't and we win, then we win. So it's really a win-win.
That's hedging. It's
Also,
ultimate
guys, too, I mean, future Guardian Shohei Ohtani is going to show out at Progressive Field in front of his future fans. You know what I mean?
No comment.
Come on, David Blitzer, make it happen.
That's right. All right, let's look at NBA playoffs at a bet. Pick a winner with the spread from one of Tuesday's games. These are 2-2. Both of these games. We got Sixers, Celtics, and then we've got the Suns and the Nuggets.
I think the Celtics cover that 7.5. That's a big number, huge number, in fact. But I think the fact that they've needed 2 heroic performances out of James Harden have the Philadelphia 76ers. I think that typically means that your luck is getting ready to expire when you need a guy to go absolutely galactic twice to get you at a 2-2 tie. This game is in Boston. The Celtics coming off of a loss. We know how these things tend to go. Coming off of a big loss, I look for Boston to bounce back. I like the Celtics in the 7.
All right, what about the Suns Nuggets?
I think I know that the Suns just crawled back from down 0-2 to tie it up at 0-2. I don't know that 4.5. I hate 4.5.
What do you think?
I'm going to take the Suns. I'll take the Suns to cover.
Suns
that.
plus 4.5.
Suns plus 4.5. I think they're hot. I think Devin Booker is the best player in the playoffs probably right now.
So I'm going to lock in a bet. Sixers plus 7.5. And Nuggets minus 4.5.
Oh my god.
Hashtag fade Padone. We're going to see if this strategy works out for the season.
Oh my god.
Chris, I got one for you. NHL playoffs. Here's a bet.
Ooh.
Pick a winner, money line from one of Tuesday or Wednesday's games. We've got Hurricanes plus 130 at the Devils minus 150. And then we've got the Stars minus 135 versus Kraken
Seattle.
plus 115.
Yes. It's amazing to me how these expansion teams are good. It just drives me nuts. It's kind of like back in the day when the Browns came back right after the Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers, and the Carolina Panthers and the Jaguars were good.
Biaka Batuka.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those
Yeah.
are the days, right?
Yep. And then we got Maple Leafs minus 125 and Panthers plus 105.
And I am going to give me the Devils, New Jersey Devils.
Take them to win it, minus 150.
Minus 150. Yep. They're at home. I'll take the Devils. What the heck?
There we go. All right, we covered pretty much everything.
Man, we
Go
literally
download
packed
that
so
Tipico
many
app.
sports into this show.
Promo
and weather.
code REFLOG.
Yeah, promo code REFLOG.
REFLOG, and get those bet credits on us.
So we had horse racing, football,
Yes.
baseball, hockey, weather. That's 5. That's pretty solid. One of those things you cannot bet legally in Ohio.
That's right. That would have been a good 2 truths and a lie.
Not yet. Not yet. We're going to get a politician on here.
There we go. It's been a while since we've had a
got
politician.
connections. We've got connections, Dave.
That we
Never
do.
doubt the show. The power of the show. We can make this happen in Ohio where
Heck
you can
yes.
bet the weather. This time next year, you'll be able to bet the weather along with the Guards to win.
I love it. All right, that is all the time we have. Thanks for tuning into the Reflog Show on the Big Play Network. We will see you next Monday, 9 p.m. Have a great week. Go Browns, hopefully.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show!